It started as two plain wooden MDF hearts, nothing special, nothing romantic, but as the velvet powder met the surface, the crackle began to reveal itself, and the molded clay roses took shape. This heart slowly became something special. Hello, my crafty friends. I'm Donna from Mason Creations, etc., and welcome to my channel. We're going to play with something new today, so if you're ready to do this, my friends, let's make a mess. This is a set of two wood MDF heart shapes that I'll be transforming into a little wall hanging that is so romantic and Valentine worthy. The set comes with two heart shapes in two different sizes. Each one gets decorated and then layered one on top of the other. Okay, let's get these pieces prepped. I'm painting the larger heart with Pentart paint in the color gold. We're going to do something fun with this layer. Have you ever tried velvet powder? You're going to like this. It's super easy and turns out so beautiful. The smaller heart is getting painted white using Dixie Belle chalk paint in the color cotton. I'll be decoupaging on this one, so I need a white background color. This and all the products you're going to see me use today came from decoupagenapkins.com, my wonderful sponsors. After the paint dried, I gave the gold heart 2 coats of polyvine heavy-duty varnish, waiting 1 hour between coats. I let the final coat dry for an hour as well. All of the polyvine varnishes are wonderful sealers, but the heavy-duty varnish is my preferred one to use. Okay, now I'm getting prepped for the velvet powder. I'm using this stencil for the velvet powder design. I sprayed the back of it with Pixie repositionable adhesive and let it dry for about 10 minutes. This will stop paints or any type of medium from bleeding under the stencil. I'm applying a transfer gel medium over the stencil with a palette knife and scraping off the excess. I'm only adding this around the edges and not in the center of the heart. The other one is going to be glued on top, so I didn't want to waste the velvet powder. This medium goes on white but dries clear and sticky. I've had this stencil in my stash for years, so you may not be able to find the exact same one, but I'll leave you a safe link where you can find some beautiful stencils. Very little of this design is going to show, so make sure you get a stencil with a small pattern. Make sure you wash your stencil right away. This is glue, so you don't want it to dry inside any of the design. I'll let this dry for several hours. My adhesive is dry, and it's time for the velvet powder. You'll want to do this over a piece of wax paper or butcher paper. A lot of the powder is going to knock off, and you'll want to put it back in the bottle, just like you do with glitter. Since I'm covering a large area, I took off the inner tip so I could get a large amount of powder covering my heart. I'm just tapping the bottle to get it moving. After you get all the powder on your piece, press it gently into the dried glue. Then just tap off the excess. The powder is made by Pentart. It comes in several different colors, but since this is for Valentine's Day, I'm using red. Because you're watching this video today, decoupagenapkins.com is going to give you a 10% discount on one order that's a minimum of at least $50. This is a one-time discount and is good on your entire order when you use the code MASON10 in all caps at checkout. You can also use this discount in conjunction with the free shipping on orders over $75. So now you can get that mold you've been eyeing or some additional rice papers you've been wanting. Even if you've been ordering from them in the past, you can still take advantage of this one-time 10% discount when using the code above. I'll leave all this information for you in my description box below. To find my description box, click on the word more just below the title of this video. If you get any of the powder where you don't want it, just carefully dust it off with a dry paintbrush. I love this script rice paper. It looks like a love letter, and I'm going to make it look very vintage in just a few minutes. But first I'm going to decoupage it to the small heart that I painted white. Make sure you always paint white or a very light off-white wherever you're going to decoupage rice paper or a napkin. White allows the colors of your images to look more vibrant. Dark colors will make your images look dark and muddy. I'm using Polyvine Heavy Duty Varnish in a satin finish as my decoupage adhesive today. You can use this product as a varnish and an adhesive, which is true for all the Polyvine formulas. It works so much better than the most popular brand of decoupage glue that takes 28 days to completely dry and cure. This isn't a glue, so it doesn't go on thick and lumpy. Dries to the touch in 1 hour and is completely cured in less than a week. It's a varnish, so it dries crystal clear and will never yellow. All the Polyvine formulas can be used as a decoupage adhesive, so feel free to use whichever one you have on hand. If you've been using Polyvine products, you're going to notice that they've changed all the labels and some of the product names. So when ordering, don't think that you've been given an incorrect product. The Heavy Duty Wood Varnish is now Heavy Duty Varnish, and the Heavy Duty Extreme Varnish is now Exterior Extreme Varnish. I hope you love and enjoy these products as much as I do. And I'll let this dry for a couple hours. I always make the rice paper or napkin a little bit longer than what I'm going to need, so that I can get a nice clean edge. I'm going to do this with a medium grit sandpaper. I'm running the sandpaper over the edge of my piece in a downward motion. Make sure you don't go upward, you'll risk lifting your rice paper or napkin. The sandpaper cuts off the paper, leaving a very clean edge. I added another coat of varnish and let that dry for an hour. I'm using my favorite, Doss clay, to make some embellishments for this project. Doss clay is so easy to work with, dries quickly, and has very little shrinkage or cracking when dry. It's perfect for making molded pieces. After pressing the clay into the mold, I'm scraping off the excess with my palette knife. Where are you all watching from, my crafty friends? Let me know in the comments. I just love to see what cities and countries all my friends are watching from. I'm filming from sunny Las Vegas, Nevada in the United States. Then I'll put them in the freezer for 20 minutes. Freezing the clay makes it rigid, so they just pop out of the mold easily. No fragile pieces will break off. Fresh out of the freezer, watch how easily these just pop out of the molds. No delicate little pieces will break off. They are frozen solid, so I'll need to let them thaw for a few minutes, but not in the mold. Make sure you remove them from the mold right away as soon as you take them out of the freezer. While they're thawing, I take that time to smooth out the edges and remove any little pieces of clay that shouldn't be there. While they're still somewhat frozen is a great time to do this. They're still hard, so touching them won't destroy all that beautiful detail. They do thaw quickly and will be ready to glue to your project within a few minutes. I'm going to use Elegance tacky glue to add my molded clay to my piece. I need to add this while the clay is still wet so it'll conform to the piece as it dries. This is the best glue I've found for attaching wet clay. If any glue seeps out from under the clay, I'm removing it right away with a clean, damp brush. I'm also pressing down all the edges of the clay very delicately to make sure they're all connecting with the piece. I test all the products that I recommend in my videos. I won't recommend anything that I haven't used myself and prefer. If I'm recommending it, you can bet it's a great product. Each product will be listed in my description box below and will have a blue link to make it easy for you to find. Any of the links I provide are safe for you to click on. I'm going to let this dry overnight. I'm going to add some paint to my beautiful clay piece. I'm going to use Pentart Red to paint the roses and Pentart Vintage Green for all the little leaves. I added quite a bit of water to my paint. This is going to look more like a wash instead of paint. I'm adding the paint and then wiping it off the surface right away before it can dry. I'm not even doing any detail work. I'm literally just slapping the paint down in the general area. I want this to have a very worn out vintage look. I'm sure you guys have noticed that I use a lot of Dixie Belle and Pentart paints. These are my absolute favorites. They both go on super smooth and creamy with really good coverage. I rarely, if ever, need a second coat of Pentart, and that goes for the metallic colors as well. DecoupageNapkins.com has such a great selection of napkins that you can purchase one at a time. They carry many other craft supplies such as rice paper, paint, clay, molds, and a great selection of Polyvine products. Over 9,000 products and growing. They are wonderful to work with and will send your order out fast. You'll receive free shipping on orders over $75 and special bonus points for orders over $100. Subscribe to their newsletter by entering your email address, and you'll receive 10% off your next order. This discount is separate from the Mason 10 discount and may be used on a separate order. They are truly your one-stop shop for craft supplies. Make sure you check them out. I'll be leaving links for all the products I use in my description box below, as well as more information on the previously mentioned promotions. Please note that any of these promotions are subject to future changes. I'm going to be doing some antiquing, and you need a shiny surface for that. So I'm giving the clay heart a coat of varnish, and then I'll let that dry for about an hour. I'm mixing my own antique using a glazing medium and some paint. I put about a teaspoon in a little paper cup and then added just a few drops of paint. The glazing medium prolongs the drying time of the paint. This way you have a longer working window. Before you apply any antiquing, you need to have a satin or gloss finish. This will allow you to wipe the antique off the surface, and it will remain in all the cracks and crevices. Without a shine on the surface, the antique will grab onto the bare paint, and you won't be able to wipe any of it off. I always add a little water to my mixture because I prefer my antique a little bit runnier. I'm applying it with a brush and wiping it off right away with a soft, dry cloth. You can mix the glazing medium with any color paint to make antique. This allows you to get really creative with your projects. For example, I'm using gold paint for my antique on this project. This little heart is all about red and gold. Even more gold antiquing to come. And I'll let this dry for a couple hours. I'm using some brown ink and a soft ink applicator brush to add some dimension to this little heart. I'm applying it around the edge in a circular motion. This gives the heart a dome appearance instead of looking so flat. I used a small soft paintbrush to get underneath the edge of the clay. Sorry guys, somehow I missed filming that. This will make the little clay heart appear to be lifted from the surface by causing a shadow. I want to protect all that ink, so I'm giving the whole front a coat of varnish. And then I'll let that dry for about an hour. The clay heart is completely finished. I already added my final coat of varnish, so I'm good to add some waxes on just the clay heart. The wax rubs are the last thing you want to add to your pieces. Because it's wax, it won't need to be sealed. I'm going to highlight the roses using a wax rub in the color White Pearl. This will add a little bit of glimmer to those roses. There's a little bit of a lip around the edge of the clay heart. I'm going to add some gold wax to just that lip. I'm using redesigned Decor wax in the color Eternal and a tiny flat brush to apply it just on the tiny top edge. If I didn't add some type of gold or glimmer, you guys would think you were on the wrong channel. This product is solvent-based, so you'll need to clean your brush with mineral spirits. Also, if you make a mistake, you can clean it up with mineral spirits on a Q-tip. If you're enjoying this video, please let me know by hitting that like button. When you click the like button, a new hype button shows up. If you click that, you'll be able to send points to my channel. YouTube will then send this video out to more viewers. This is great for my channel. I appreciate you for doing that. You won't want to miss any of the new projects coming up, so don't forget to subscribe. I'm using Pentart's Fine Line Crackle Varnish to add a beautiful vintage porcelain look to this piece. It's a two-part system, and I'm brushing on component number 1. And then I'll let that dry for about an hour, until it's clear. Now that it's dry, I'll brush on component number 2. This step is an amber color. Use thin, even strokes. If you get buildup or drips anywhere, it'll show when dry. I'll let this dry for a couple of hours. Once dry, you'll see the cracks. I have some amazing cracks now, and I'm going to add some antiquing so you can see them. I'm using Pentart Antique Paste. It's solvent-based, so it's safe to put over the fine line crackle. I'm rubbing it into all the cracks and then wiping it off with a dry, soft cloth. Make sure you do not use a wet wipe. The antique will wipe off the surface of your piece, but stay in all those beautiful cracks. I'll let the antique paste dry for a couple of hours. Then I gave it a coat of Winsor & Newton clear glossy varnish. This is a solvent-based sealer, so it's safe for the fine line crackle. It's very shiny and gives your piece an aged porcelain appearance. I let this dry for about an hour. Also, please note that you cannot use any water-based varnishes or antiques over the fine line crackle. It will ruin your crackle finish. Since this product is solvent-based, the best way to clean your brush will be with mineral spirits. I'm using hot glue to add some pearls around the edges of both hearts. Then I'll glue them together. You're going to see me use a lot of different tools that make life so much easier. Things like a turquoise cup cradle to keep round objects from getting away, a bow jabra that makes bows in a snap, a water brush for separating rice paper and napkins, nail art brushes for fine detail work, palette knives, a rhinestone picker, and others. All of these items are listed in my description box below and my favorite tools section, just in case you'd like to check any of them out. I'm using some tacky glue with a few spots of hot glue to hold it right away. I clamped it and let dry overnight. I'm using a thin wire to add a hanger that I'm going to string some beads on. Don't forget, all of the wonderful products I'm using today can be found at my favorite place for craft supplies, decoupagenapkins.com, and I'll leave you links in my description box below. After adding the beads, I threaded the wire through the hole at the top twice and secured it in back with hot glue. I glued a piece of satin ribbon to the wire just above the top bead and then tied it in a knot. I tied a tiny bow and glued it to the knot. I made another tiny bow to cover up the hole in the bottom heart and added a red tassel to the bottom. I've added a link to a video that I think you may enjoy. Click the picture on the right to be taken directly to that video. I'm so happy you were here with me today, and thanks so much for watching. I can't wait to see you all next week. I'm working on a new project with you in mind. You can subscribe by clicking my picture in the top right corner.